Alright, I'm going to start from the top for the recording. This is chapter 10 of the Song with 10 Names. It is titled Kimi and the Kalmiya Kid. The summary is, lust and purity fall as drops into the same pool of Kizume's mind, and he's concerned that they blend so well instead of mixing like oil and water. A flower festival proves to be one of the most challenging missions he's been on since becoming an Akatsuki. What does it mean to maintain a lady's honor? I'm so sainted, untainted, scrubbed up and squeaky clean. My virtue will serve you, the light that's so pristine. What has Kisame done today to deserve his eyes? White sheets wash over their heads like a sea foam of a tide. He senses her with every part of his anatomy. The woman raises her head, hair falling over her shoulders. It is immediately known that those hooded eyes desire him just as much as Kisame achingly desires her. Thirsty, soft lips part as she lifts herself up, drawing closer to the man as their bright snowy backdrop gently tense overtop her exquisite body. She's so small compared to he as she leans above him, but the view he gets of her now fills his whole world. He is so hungry for her flesh, and he is ready to taste every square inch of it. As he reaches a hand forward to guide her mouth to his, Kisame wakes up. The sound of her sigh disappears as he gapes for air, throwing himself straight up in bed, heart racing as he grips the covers between tense fingers. Tweet, tweet, tweet. The morning birds mock him from the windowsill as Kisame begins to recover from his beautiful, terrible dream. Each hurried breath leads to one, just a bit slower, until the very last one comes as a groan behind a worried frown. The air is cold upon his bare back, now that he's sitting up, and a hand holds his forehead in grief. He waits a moment. The blood in him needs to calm down before he moves from the mattress and begins the day, lest he spend more of it feeling like a low life. That's what I tell myself. Well, you've torn those lies apart. Just touch my wrist, and for that instant, I'm yours with all my heart. His tormentors, dreadful and cute feathered things, seem to follow from the outside trees down the staircase, into the hallway, and down past the kitchen. He pauses as he's about to walk by the entryway of the room, his hair nearly touching the ceiling, as he looks over his shoulder and towards the base. The little blue daisies he's bought have disappeared, not a day after they started to show decay. It's a mildly disconcerting turn of events. Though as far as bad things go, this is probably in the bottom 2 or 3 things that actually matter right now. Which is not a hard reward to achieve when bloodshed is the name of your game. I'm going to turn this down really quick. Still, if the lady is so picky about her flowers, it wouldn't hurt to replace them for her. A conversation begins under his breath as he walks over the floor he's repaired, picking up the empty vase in his hands. To get more would mean to go back to the florist that missed her. Maybe it's time he considered keeping a promise. But is it a good idea to go so soon? Perhaps wait until his lusty heart clears up, and he can behave like a human being in front of... Good morning. Her. The straps of her dress fall more loosely than he noticed before, as she surprises him from behind. Eyes trail down from the shoulders he's massaged, down the cleavage that teases ever so slightly in her neckline, down to the curves at her waist where the fabric hugs so lovingly. God damn it. Fish eyes return to her own, which are, to his gratitude, unwitting. To her, Kisame seems simply as if he is just waking up. Sorry if I kept you up too late. An apology already. Oh, I mixed this up. This is her voice. Sorry if I kept you up too late. An apology already. though from the warmth in her smile it is merely a formality. The birds continue to balk loudly behind the man's ears, as if he's not overwhelmed enough. Just shake your head enough, Kisame, and maybe it'll knock the thoughts out. I've stayed up later. He shrugs. Bashfully, the princess raises her shoulders too, tilting her head. Not me. Not really. I'm more of a morning person. It was nice, though. A pause. He's a bit quieter than she expected. Did you have a nice time? Kisame remembers, of course, as two of the most gorgeous people in not one but two universes graced him with their presence until midnight, leaving him with longing and regret that he was so much of a bastard in a past life to curse this one with a shark's mug and a penchant for unforgivable violence. It was all right, he corrects, though as the woman raises her shoulder higher just so her head can dip lower in disapproval. I'm not used to that kind of thing, that's all. What, having friends? She's so fucking glad this is not one of her slip-ups of the tongue, and stays in the shameful little corner of her head where such malice fucking belongs. Well, I appreciate it, then. The traveler nods to finish the conversation, about to make her leave. Hold on. A groggy voice stops her in her place. What do you think about going to the village today? As the woman mumbles in questioning interest, he elaborates. I didn't know you'd been there before. Turns out someone misses you. Well, step back and slap myself sane. No lust erupts to leave shame. Bad little man. Catch him and make him say, Whoa there, Kimmy. I'm not that kind of boy. I'm not some womanizing, self-defiling slave to my own joy. A lot of someone's missed her, actually. The star of the show walks out of the shop first, a twig of forget-me-nots behind her ear and straw-colored sun hat cooling her face with its shadow. Wow, I didn't realize she liked me that much. Kisame did, a man having become a walking bouquet of flowers of every shape and size that are together so large you can't even see the bottom half of his face. You don't say. She hums in the negative, though her tone is pleased. We just talked in the morning, when I used to come down for lunch. Lunch? A hum in the positive. Kakuzu used to give me an allowance. I'd come over every day for it, and the entrance closest on the path here is always right by the flower shop. I see. He had wondered why she was trying to lead the way for such a long walk it was to town. It's one she knows well. Another thought scratches his brain, though. Did you really just say Kakuzu gave you an allowance? Oh, yeah. Just enough for lunch at the market. Well, that's a thing that Kisame never expected to hear in his lifetime, or frankly, any other in any timeline or in any dimension. He huffs a chuckle, to mask confusion with amusement, tilting his head past an iris to see where he's being led by the girl now. Someone too busy to stay gives her an excited wave as they wander by, when she returns as if she recognizes them. Rather interesting he'd give up his own change. Must have been quite an impression upon him to get a single coin from that miser. Oh, it was technically mine. He said it came from my tips. Wait, what? Tips? From the work he got me. What? The ghost of the still very alive florist looms over his shoulder, repeating something he had forgotten until now. She was with others like you. She visited our village alone in the day, and they brought her back by night. Kisame? All of a sudden, he sees how everyone acknowledges her, if they so choose. He sees them with eyes half closed, lips parting, moving towards the oblivious siren. But the Night's Ward is not oblivious to him, so to how he stops in place. She steps forward to stand right in front of him and look up, hoping he recognize her and say what's wrong. Kisame feels as if the crowd of people is inching closer and closer to circle her like prey. Kisame! A coral tone azalea ends up underneath someone's shoe as a sacrifice, as Kisame frees one arm to quickly shuffle the princess away from immodesty. Turns out when a fish blushes, their cheeks turn purple. Oh, damn it. The air is much cooler in the shade of the thin alleyway, the smell of trash an absolutely delightful addition to the aroma of flowers. His head is held again, dipping with the weight of a very likely reality that he was foolish enough to bring her back to. She repeats his name again, more commandingly, as she begs to be recognized, but the shark can't speak until he knows what to say. Kisame? He's scaring her now. The woman approaches from behind, gripping both hands on one arm and tilting forward as much as she can so as to put herself in front of his sight. He can't bring himself to match her gaze. I'm sorry. Huh? But he can't give further answer at the drop of a hat. Whatever it is, it's deeply affecting him, as he frowns so hard that lips lining sharp teeth begin to twitch. The woman knows, though, what it is like to be so overwhelmed you cannot talk, so merely, gradually, moves herself in front of him again, so that she is right there whenever he is ready. Being able to look down at the top of her dress is not helping. He's no better than the rest of them. Kakuzu, though, he'll pay for this. He really made a girl as sweet as her the village prostitute. Shame chokes his neck. I shouldn't have brought you. What are you talking about? To see them again. I'm certain you're uncomfortable. I'm certain your occupation was not one where you'd like to return. She furrows her brow. What? Well, just because I met most of them in a different place at night doesn't mean they can't talk to me when I'm not at work. She talks as if she could just waltz back into the job any second she wanted to. Eyes cast under a new light that makes her Fish eyes cast her under a new light that makes his heart ache and race. Did she enjoy it? Kisame makes himself look squarely at her boots instead of any part of her body, innocent or otherwise. Sex work is work, of course, and fine when done safely and without duress. But she didn't strike him as the type. Does that childish veneer really carry such sultry expertise underneath? On her side of the back alley, the performer is only about halfway to deciphering what this is about. But lacking a full answer doesn't keep her from acting upon her instinct to comfort the man. His stare jumps up as she takes both of his hands, and before they can wander, they pin to the flower in her hair. I'm okay, she assures, and she means it. I liked my job. Everyone treated me nicely, and if they didn't, he'd help me out. Okay, Sharky is requesting we have a slow reprieve. Okay. I liked my job. Everyone treated me nicely, and if they didn't, he'd help me out. Kisame tries to imagine the silvered-haired demon as chivalrous. Why can't I do words today? As chivalrous for the first time. They've started wearing the same clouds. It is very, very difficult. Kakuzu arranged everything, so while I just did my thing, we got paid and everyone went home. For some reason, she knows, it's important to her guardian that everything was safe. Were Hidan and Kakuzu really that mean to other people? Grumpy, yeah. Also, okay, they were killers or whatever, but they didn't start any fights. Yet. I was safe. I was never scared. You weren't forced into it, were you? It is not a good thing that she shrugs as an initial response. He nearly has a heart attack and half a mind to shave the zombies shred by shred, to see if they're still technically alive. He kind of pushed me to try it, but it worked out. I enjoyed myself. An index finger and a middle finger on either hand cross, framing a nearly silly smirk. Promise. Beside himself, Kisame memorizes the shape of tiny blue petals around yellow dots until he can see them with his eyes closed. She was safe. She was happy. Why does it bother him so much then? She is not his. The carnal desire for that to be true does not substitute an actual contract of fidelity to the man. So Kisame does the right thing and lets the woman choose her life for herself. If you say so. Her smile widens and she closes her eyes up at him. The skin, so soft against his, even if it's just their hands, makes his purple tint deeper, and his own grin feel like an undercover sin. I'd like to go back outside now. And he nods. And then something horrible happens as they re-enter daylight. A familiar face from a flower shop is running down the street to catch up with them. Takara-chan! She nearly runs the woman over, throwing her arms around the performer to catch herself before holding her by the shoulders, stepping back. Was she one of the ones who hired her? She's so attached to the songbird. I thought I'd lost you. I forgot to say. Say what? The florist is beaming. The Hydrangea Festival is this evening. Why does Kisame's stomach sink as her heart flutters to the sky? A festival? She gets an eager nod in return, but no explanation. I've never been one just for flowers before. You have to come. Please, please, please. Beseeching, the villager looks up to Kisame. He notes the trust in her eyes. Now that he's brought back the woman safe and sound, as she had asked. It'll be in the town courtyard. I made all of the arrangements. Please, take Miss Kakura-chan. I know she'd love it. And though Kisame knows it is the princess's decision to make, the two women still look to him for approval. He is, after all, her chaperone, her bouncer, her Akatsuki. He isn't sure he likes the feeling of replacing the feet that were in Hidan and Kakuzu's shoes. The man exhales, much less amused than he'd normally be. Fine. This is already the longest day of his life. Might as well make it longer. Well there, Kimmy, but I'm programmed to destroy and make mistakes, so hit the brakes and find another to enjoy. Honestly, it's a real damn shame that he didn't tell Itachi there'd be dango and make him come along. But the woman's modesty, whatever that means to her, necessitates his protection, and it is her decision to tell the Uchiha about her line of work when she so chooses. However, she seems rather open about it, and he notes others are pretty open to her in turn. Hello! Takara-chan, where have you been? I missed you. For a performer, all the attention is making her blush. Wow, she murmurs to Kisame, the moment there's a clearing in the crowd, some space to be somewhat private. I had no idea they liked me so much. It surprises him, too. Perhaps it's a different attitude this village has, to see her heart of gold before anything else. He still hasn't looked her in the eye yet today, and the way she refuses to let go of his hand, lest they lose each other in a place neither had explored all that much, is not helping the stress on his mind. Having no answer from him in the seconds after her confession, the star turns her head side to side, taking in everything. Wow, she repeats, under her breath in awe. Speckles and bundles of blue, purple, pink, and white adorn the buildings at the town center like an art piece, cut and in pots and rooted in the ground alike. Isn't it wonderful? The florist gleefully makes herself known once again, latching both of her arms around her friends in excitement. It's my first year doing it. I mean, I did it before, but that was before my dad passed away. Anyhow, it's good, right? As if she has any expertise in floral arrangement, the gardener's favorite rose nods in assurance. I think it's wonderful, she confirms, choosing the same word the other lady did on purpose. The florist squeaks with glee. Oh, Takara-chan. Abruptly, the kimono-clad woman lets go of the princess and stands straight up, attention locked on the paved circle at a man who looks especially curiously at one of the bushes. Hold on. A few hurried steps forward, and she begins to rethink this command, ponytail whipping as she turns her head backwards at the two strangers. I have to stay and host everything. You just go and have fun, okay? And she's off to the races, already educating the other villagers' ear off by the time Takara turns to her guardian with a bright smile. Kisame isn't as sure as she is that they can do as told. Gentle fingers guide his, happy to blindly lead and wander the sectioned-off streets and shops now dedicated to natural beauty and perfume. It's familiar, of course, the way people eyeball the giant blue man, but somehow it is much more uncomfortable now that he has a dainty, feminine comparison by his side. Does he look like a lost puppy, or a vicious dragon in the minds of these strangers? But he must remain, not only for the mission, but as an unspoken duty to the lovely girl that feeds hungry eyes. It's fascinating, he ends up wondering at the back of her head, how someone that he thought he had clocked so well, she did melt so quickly that night in the cave, of course, could have so many unguessable multitudes. It reminds him of when he first met Itachi, a handsome man he greeted with hostility, but eventually made more than peace with. It's the lonely life of a ninja, yes, but they've at least been lonely together. Kisame knows his soft, matte gray eyes and the ravenous nature of his sweet tooth. And Itachi knows each flaw and strength of his partner like the back of his hand. The shark's eyes. Beauty to him is merely something destined to be put on the shelf of his mind, isn't it? To be admired and protected, but never touched. But the difference between Itachi and Takara is that Takara will touch you. Kisame? His palm feels hers tighten, and he snaps himself awake to see a finger of hers point. What's that? Bittersweet, his toothy grin widens. Ah, the irony. He takes in the sight as they approach. Tricolored balls of mochiko delicately slid onto wooden skewers by a street vendor. That's dango. He drinks in the sound of her hum, curious and unknowing of even the most common treat. Don't tell Itachi-san that I told you, but it's his favorite. He reaches into an inner pocket of his cloak. We'll grab some and go. A minute later, a stick is in her hand, and he examines her as she examines the candy, its weight and balance in its dusty, muted color against the blue sky. Really? Someone like her. Kisame threatens his own brain to shut the hell up. It doesn't matter. She's still the same person. It's none of his business. No matter how sweet her lips look, rounded and plump as she brings the candy nearer, no matter how cute and pink her tongue looks, peeking in between her teeth. Her innocence is a fact assured as the treat is eventually lowered. She rewraps the dango and hands it back to him for safety alongside the spare. I'll wait until we can share it together. I figured he'd like that. Kisame exhales, one side of his mouth wearily upturned. So he would. Well, I've got these demons. They're screaming for something good to eat. Trussed up and dreaming of their freedom. Their chains are getting weak. But I've seen darkness in my heart, miss, and it scares the shit out of me. The terrible, beautiful nightmare come to life finally winds down, it seems, for the poor, hot-blooded man. Some sort of sonorous hum sweet as nectar inside his friend's mouth, legs that are bare up to the knees kicking in her seat. Twilight has fallen, the sun down but the sky not yet dark. Finally, a long day can be put to rest. Kisame rolls his weary shoulders. one arm behind her on the bench while his chin looks to the clouds the same color as the festival's flowers. We best be getting home now, or else the whole trip is going to be done in the black of night. The woman interrupts his murmur to reply. This tone is a sad one, and while tempted to argue that she's gone back in the dead of night all the time, it isn't her call. Kisame sighs. We can always come back. He damns hope they won't, but that isn't his call. Takara sighs. Yeah, okay. The melancholy is as thick as can be for reasons he can't ascertain why. One by one, the street lamps are lit by a candle bearer, and the woman watches them until her eyes trail down to the one place down this road where the building's entry shines in the coming midnight. One last thing. With his grunt of permission, the performer explains. I want to visit the bar before we go. The bar. Kisame can feel his heartbeat in the sides of his neck, going up to his ears and aching his head. Presumably, if he remembers correctly, this is where she used to go, escorted and guarded by the zombies. Presumably, if he infers correctly, where she performed her work. She's allowed to go back. Of course she is. And putting himself aside, she decides to not go alone. And putting himself aside, she deserves to not go alone. He accepts solemnly, with a dip of his head, and her eyes are as bright as the stars. The woman guides him by the hand the long walk down. He counts the lamps until the awning of the only business awake this hour is at their feet. 1, 2, 3. She senses how tense he is. I think you'd like them. She tries to soften, and a lost breath in his throat somehow loses even more air. 4, 5, 6. Is he afraid? Why is he afraid? Is he unhappy? Why is he unhappy? 7, 8, 9. You don't have to go in with me if you don't want to. 10. Kisame drinks in the sight of her, his sinful gaze better hidden as it grows dimmer outside. Lantern light slicks her locks and caresses the shape of her face. A couple of blue petals have fallen over the course of the day, often away into the cracks of the road or blown onto rooftops. He can't help himself. He pushes the stem of flowers back in place. Briefly, he asks himself, if so many hands can touch her, why not his? But he's not that kind of man. He wants to be wanted. It doesn't feel fair otherwise. Takara. The two dreamers under the stars turn around as a new addition opens the curtain, arms spread open. She recognizes him immediately. Sir. Though she's ashamed she never learned his name, the middle-aged man makes her beam. Kakuzu finds his mustache too bristly and eyebrows too thick. You can't get a good read on a face you can hardly see. The barkeep star, though, reads the whistles of a fuzzy brown caterpillar with ease. Where have you been, my girl? A clap on her back is met with wary eyes, one which the man seems to meet with a raise of his chin. Ah, a new entourage. I'm glad you took her back. Place hasn't been the same without our little lady. The hand slides down, holding her around the hip. Kisame wonders if his stare alone could set it on fire. Wait, really? The older man meets her surprise with an exhale. My little wallflower doesn't know how to give herself credit. I still get asked. Taiga, when's your girl going to come back? I swear my profits on drink have sunk 15% if I did the math right. A flush tinges her face, and wide eyes end up locked on their shoes. Wow. So maybe it wasn't just Kakuzu that kept her employed. Huh. Now, I don't mean to take up your precious time. Is this business or pleasure? Guess for you it's the same thing. Oh, Kisame does not like how he laughs at his own jokes. But she doesn't seem to mind, and for her sake he can keep his pointed mouth shut. Just wanted to say goodbye before I left. The old man coos. Oh, well, goodbye to you, lass. But consider this. You only just arrived. You don't want to come in? Maybe perform one last time? Well... Kisame scrutinizes every inch of his ward for some signal she needs help. But, eventually, the woman just shrugs her shoulders. I suppose one more night wouldn't hurt. She looks up to the night. Oh no. Is that okay? He nods. He cannot do anything but nod. The old man leads the way, disappearing into the debauchery and expecting her to follow. Does the star expect the same of Kisame? She certainly offers it with the long gaze she gives. Before him again, as earlier when he held the flowers, an innocent folds her hands behind her back and stares up in wait. Kisame is so very, very still. His frown twitches. The corners barely stretch up. I'll wait out here. No, he cannot bear it. He will be here, waiting without judgment, but he cannot witness what she does. It's as if he doesn't have the right. The man isn't sure what to make of the exhale she gives, what she must expect from him, hope from him. What a strange thing, he ponders, as the woman slips by and he turns his back to the curtain. He tries to ignore the tears that emerge, hardly muted by the barrier. Tries not to imagine the groping and dirty words she will accept. But then, things are hush. Far too hush. And then he knows he's become the fool. If I found someone to stick like glue to, that is singing. She is singing. I'd probably peer out from the leaves, hide a couple roses up my sleeve. The performer sounds more lovely than any dove, as she continues the tradition Kisame has already known her eager to do. Of course she is singing. And I always find myself stuck in this love goo. Feelings are hard to ignore, especially when you don't know what they're for. Don't know just what makes flowers bloom, but I hope that they'll enjoy a tune. Oh, god damn it, you asshole. The swordsman breaks his chaste vow and peers inside, shocked at what the truth is, despite how it's the likely outcome all along. She's in the corner of this little watering hole, a borrowed guitar on her lap as she strums like she's never been away from it. So many eyes on her, but she only has her own on strings and fingertips, hair falling off her shoulder as she tilts her head in dreamy melody. Kisame sees her lips part and sigh, revealing secrets of tiny things that find contentment in their simplicity. So if the only love I'll feel is for bumblebees, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. And if I'll only ever dance with pine trees, that's fine with me. The siren lures Kisame in, despite his previous misgivings, despite his obvious, painful misunderstandings. The giant ignores the stares on him as he drifts closer and closer to the tide of the goddess. And though she is not here for sex as he mistook, she is still the most enrapturing woman to have ever walked into his life. Her eyes crack open, the moment they notice him clear, as she jumps in her seat with excitement first and then simply, purely joy. She smiles. She smiles for him. A whole audience in the room, and he could swear it's like he's the only one that matters. He's the only one shy eyes will make contact with. That's fine with me. He kneels right in front of her, as any obedient knight would. Although new and novel at first, the other stares begin to fade, and as she did before, the performer blends into their background. Her doubts hide in the lyrics and sift away, lost forever behind the noise of conversation and clacking drinks. It's lonely in the coral reef I float in. I wish I could swim out to the sea, but sharks are circling and nothing's easy. I still don't really know which way I'm going. But I guess the water's warm enough to bear, and I never have to wash or dry my hair. He is so desperate to drink the sight of her in, both culpable and so relieved. It didn't matter, no, but shame on him for assuming something so drastic, just because of the sin on his mind. I miss watching the flowers bloom, but at least I can keep writing tunes. The applause is gentler as the song ends and she excuses herself for the night. The woman stands up and, much to his surprise, asks for his hand among many for his help down and out. The hesitation Kisame keeps doesn't last, but the guilt for being so presumptuous does. So I'll cement my defenses and get up off my knees. The night is no longer young by the time the escort is complete. The welcome mat that is this clearing in front of her home finally beneath their feet. The crickets chirp and an owl calls. All the sounds of nature, and still the breath from her lips is the only thing he can hear. Kisame? It isn't a question, not really. She just wants his focus and permission to speak. She gets it. She gets all of it from him. I wanted to thank you for everything today. I know it wasn't your favorite. Don't apologize, she reminds herself. He doesn't like it when you apologize. I hope you enjoyed yourself, the performer rephrases, taking the sun hat off her head and hold it to her chest. His answer is immediate, of course. Certainly he did. But as he speaks it, he stops. He's surprised to find it true. He did enjoy himself, somewhere underneath being a prudish worrywart fussing too much about what a lady does or does not engage with, even if only for the way she looked at him at the end of the night. It's so saturating that he can't take it anymore. Takara, Kisame begins, tugging at his collar and looking towards the ground in shame. I apologize. It almost makes her mad how he's begged her to stop saying that, and yet he... No, it feels important the way he's saying that. She closes her mouth and listens. I've been an idiot. And he's continuing to be. He doesn't need to tell her this. Why? Why? Why does it matter that he's honest? It's because he needs a world of truth. He can't go on another way. Honesty is something he and her have in common, spilling into their lives in different ways. I've had no reason to. I want you to know this. It isn't your own doing. But with the breadcrumbs I've gotten today about working at night and getting tips, I had forgotten myself. Please don't make him say it. She's going to make him say it. I believed you to be a lady of the night. The term murmured under his breath for the minute chance a woman mishears him for something better. And perhaps she does, because the first reaction he gets isn't sobbing or yelling or a slap to the face. It isn't even remotely upset, at most at words. It's a tiny tinge of annoyance. No, well, I'm not. And then her own guilt comes in. I didn't do anything that made you uncomfortable, did I? Kisame sputters. No, simply, He looks over her, staring at her shoes, working up her waist and landing on stern eyes. They don't hate him. Why don't they hate him? I expected you to be uncomfortable with me. Assuming such a thing about you. Oh, something clicks in place for her. This is explaining a lot about how quiet he's been, how introverted. No, Kisame. Two brows tense in concern, a small pout on her lips as she tries to repackage the situation into something less raw and tender. There's no such thing as thought crime. You know that, right? Thought crime? Yeah, it's a term used where I'm from. She tilts forward at his side so he sees more of her. She tilts forward at his side so he sees more of her, of how unintimidated she is, no matter how brutish or mean or dirty he believes himself to be. Just because you think something doesn't mean you're bad. Huh? That certainly isn't the response he expected. That's nonsense. It's really not. It's just what you do that matters. Unable to stand tall enough to touch his forehead, she touches her own square in the middle, serious as can be. Whatever is in here, it stays in there. It only matters. The hand is moved back so both of hers are raised to the shoulders, flexing fingers demonstratively. What these do? She's pleading to him, and it hits him in one more sentence how emotionally immature he's been. And nothing you've done today in misunderstanding my job has actually hurt me. The bugs and the birds and the lowlifes of the dirt play their tunes in the stead of his silence. She just sang a song about how she adores them. It's now really the time to dismiss her. He concedes. Sorry, princess. He sighs. She's much too kind for him, unable to even return the scolding the woman has received before from him. She just smiles. The star twinkles and shines and smiles, and he melts. All of a sudden, he understands astrology. The people who throw their fate to bright and distant things. It's okay. But as soon as they walk across the way, over the grass onto the porch, and turn different ways down the old hall, not even her wave goodbye can cleanse him. The goodness in her heart and the snow-white purity of her soul are too naive to see past what they want to see. And another truth seeps into him as his bedroom door clicks behind his back. Samehara looms inches away from his shoulder, disappointed at being left behind, at having no feast in the days he's held back for more. A blue palm presses onto the bandages and lets it drink, stave it off lest he gets a good enough reason to take it out for a run. Normally he'd be eager for it, but it's too risky to do it here. Anywhere within sight of a pale dress that'd be ruined by getting blood on it. It needs to wait. The beast in him needs to wait. Itachi knows him, knows that the Akatsuki are destined to die by their own treachery. There is no gentle way to make Takara learn, so perhaps he will just avoid tainting her mind in the first place, at least as long as he can. And so he slips into bed and imagines his exoneration. Blah blah. And so he slips into bed and imagines his exoneration for besmirching the princess's faith in humanity. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. Bad little man, catch him and make him say, "Whoa there, Kimmy, I'm not that kind of boy. Get off my mind and forget me forever. Whoa there, Kimmy, I'm programmed to destroy this body of mine, but that's fine, so take your black card and go." Tweet, tweet, tweet. The lovebirds sing outside the kitchen window as Kisame is left dumbstruck, observing where the empty vase was. Not only is it now full to the brim, hydrangeas of the village cascading the edges and glowing in the sunshine, but what resided in it before has returned. Delicately taped to an old scrap of paper, the night picks the blue daisies up. They have been lovingly pressed and dried over the past 2 days, surely by 2 equally lovely hands. He squints at the horizontal writing and symbols he can't understand, leaving the imagination to fill in the gaps. Just like a horror story, a romance is better written if one allows some mystery, room to see what the enigma of the brain wants to see. This is regardless if it alarms the mind's owner, makes them wonder what lurks in their heart to make them think such a thing. Kisame so desperately wants the easy answer of being a monster, a rejection, a tailless beast. But he also wants to be loved. It is not so easy that the last word in the conversation of flowers is that he is still oh so very human, especially as a bittersweet parable still reigns in his ear. So if the only love I'll feel is for bumblebees, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. And if I'll only ever dance with pine trees, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. And that was chapter 10.